What's up everybody, Victor here. So while doing some prep work for a Livonian Order guide, I came across a discovery regarding Gotland that is a pretty strong tactic and I just had to share. So let's go ahead and just jump straight on in. And just to say it in the front, I am not in Iron Man mode at the moment just because it's easier to show you what I'm talking about, but it does absolutely work in Iron Man mode. So let's go ahead and begin. Now, while you can use this tactic as pretty much any country in the game, at the same time it's not going to be available for you every game that you play. The reason why is because you are required to have the monarchy version of the Gotland mission tree. And the AI only has about a 10% chance of picking that at the start of the game. The good news is you can tell if they did by it saying Duchy right here. The thing is, that's not the only time that they can flip out of this mission tree. If they stay a monarchy, and Eric Griff, the 62-year-old ruler of Gotland at the start of the game, when he dies, another event fires that allows them to flip out and become a republic or pirate republic. So they have to stay monarchy twice. So the 10% roll and then another one. The good news is that after the first roll, you can Alt F4 when Eric Griff dies, and they will pick something new every time, allowing you to force it to be a monarchy as long as you're willing to restart. With that being said, let's now talk about what you're actually doing with this mission tree. So the easiest way for me to explain what this tactic is and how it works is just to explain the mission tree for Gotland as a monarchy. And the only missions that matter are from War for the Crown to Execute the Wrong King. So these 5 are the only ones you actually have to do. And War for the Crown just requires that Gotland has any CB on Denmark. If they are independent, so they haven't become your vassal yet, then what they get is a personal union CB on Denmark. If, however, they are a vassal when they complete it, they get cores on all of Denmark. So obviously, you would rather them have the cores because that is something you could actually enforce and get yourself if you need to, whereas you cannot force the personal union. Here's the thing, that's incredibly easy to do. Either Gotland will fabricate on Blecking over here, or you can do it yourself if you actually have the range to do so, and then hand it over, or you can simply assign it as a vital interest province and they will take care of it, meaning the first mission is usually pretty quick and easy to do. The next 2 missions are actually what makes this more of a long-term strategy, as opposed to something you can quickly do at the beginning of the game, specifically Norwegian Trust and Secure Swedish Loyalty. The reason why is because both of these missions require one of 3 things. Either that country in particular just does not exist anymore, or that country has a certain level of opinion with Gotland, or 3, Gotland has a certain size spy network on either them or their overlord if they're not independent. So as you can see here with Sweden, either Sweden has to not exist, or they have to have 100 opinion of Gotland, or Gotland has to have a 50 size spy network on Denmark, or if Sweden is independent, it'll flip to just Sweden. Norway is slightly easier with 75 opinion or 25 spy network on Norway or on Denmark. The thing is that Gotland will not improve relations with either of these guys if they are a vassal. It's just not going to happen even if you ally them. As a result, you're not going to have it done that way. So you have to do either 1, them not existing, or 2, getting them through a spy network. So let's talk about the spy network first. The easiest way to get Gotland to actually spy on people is just to mark their provinces as vital interest. When you do so, Gotland or any other vassal will just keep dropping claims on every province that they can reach. Gotland, at the beginning of the game, can only reach 1, which obviously means they will not reach the 25, let alone the 50, that they need for Sweden. So how do you do that? Well, once you have the 1 claim, you either declare for that claim, or you can declare for a core, if you actually got that mission done that way, and give Gotland both Lund and Kolding over here. You are going to keep Ostiland. The reason why you are keeping that for yourself is because then you can fabricate claims and then hand them over to Gotland, meaning you're able to fabricate a claim for 20 spy network, hand it over, and do another one. Whereas they will eventually have to get 25, 30, etc. until eventually they will hit 50, because there are 9 provinces in range for them to actually fabricate on, which will be more than the 50 required. That being said, Sweden is likely to gain independence because they almost always do. And as you can see here, there's only 3 provinces on this side and 2 over here that Gotland can reach. While you may be able to handle over Viborg, you're going to have to fight Sweden. What you do is you hand Gotland Abo and Österbotten. By handing these 2 over, they're able to fabricate on enough other provinces to get the Swedish side done, even with Sweden still in the game. Or you simply conquer Sweden. One or the other. It really does not matter. But by doing so, you will then complete these 2 missions, which are the more annoying missions to do. What is far more likely in your game, though, is that you're just simply going to conquer Sweden, and Denmark, because Norway is typically going to be loyal, is simply going to be integrated by Denmark. So give me 1 second while I change the game, use the console, and set that up so I can show you the next phase. See you in just a second. Welcome back. As you can see, I handed Sweden over to Muscovy and Norway to Denmark. I just wanted to show that you don't actually have to conquer any of this land yourself, though obviously you really want to. Once that's done, these 2 missions will be completable, so I just need to wait, and then Gotland will complete them at the end of the month. And now I just need to get a claim down on Blekking, which Gotland will do naturally on its own. And I'm going to declare on Denmark. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pause it and just let the 3 years play out, because you have to have 3 years in a war with Denmark, where you have Gotland, not yourself, but Gotland with 50% of the war score. So I'm going to set that up, and I'll bring you guys back when it's done. See you in just a second. Hey everybody, this is the Steam CD key for this video. If you want a copy of Mafia Definitive Edition, all you have to do is be the first person to enter this code into the Redeem a Product or Code section of Steam, and you'll get a copy in your Steam library. All I ask that you do is please leave a comment on this video that you are the one that redeemed it, just to help with engagement. With all that being said, let's get back to the video. Welcome back everybody. As you can see, this war started off in 1445, and it's currently 1449, meaning it's been at least 3 years since the start of the war. And Execute the Wrong King is still not able to be completed. The reason why is it doesn't just require you to be at war with Denmark for 3 years, it requires 50 war score. I'm currently at 98%, but Gotland's only at 32, meaning I need to hand over other provinces just to kick them over that 50% threshold. Once I do so, the mission will be completed. I bring this up mainly because Gotland being occupied counts less for your war score, but a lot for theirs. So actually check to see how they're doing, because they may need a lot more provinces if they are occupied. Once that happens though, you're able to complete this mission. What this mission is it fires an event called the Execution of Christopher III. Now, if Gotland was independent, this would make it so they gain Denmark as a personal union. However, because a vassal cannot have a personal union, something a bit weird happens from the event. As you can see, I'll just suddenly be at peace. The reason why is I gained the personal union instead of Gotland. Here's the thing, I did not actually enforce a personal union. I have 0 aggressive expansion with anybody, yet I just gained all of Denmark as a personal union. If they had other personal unions, I would gain them too. So if Norway was still around, or Norway and Sweden, they were both personal unions, I'd have all 3. If they gained the other von Wittelsbachs down in Bavaria as personal unions, I gained them too. If they controlled the New World through colonies, or even all of this land here directly, it's all completely aggressive expansion free. Just like that. On top of that, the Execution of Christopher III does something else a bit different. Not only does it make Denmark your personal union, it makes it so they're completely loyal by removing 100 liberty desire completely. But on top of that, by event, also removing another 100 liberty desire for 15 years. Meaning even if you are small and they are huge, if you can actually pull this off, they're going to be super loyal to you for a very, very, very long time. Because they'll be loyal for 15 years no matter what, and you can use them to gain enough of an advantage for later on. This is especially important because if you're, say, Austria or Poland or France, you can get Gotland and then use Gotland to get Denmark after you've fed Denmark, which is super powerful. Here's the thing. Of course it is broken and overpowered to be able to get Denmark as a personal union regardless of their size, in addition to their personal unions and their vassals and their colonies for no aggressive expansion. Just like it's broken and overpowered to be able to get Denmark completely loyal by doing this. Though fair warning, any other personal unions you get by doing this, such as Norway or Sweden, they don't get the same liberty desire reduction, so be careful about that, especially with Sweden, because early game, they get a ton of events to make them disloyal to anybody that has them as a vassal or a personal union. So be very careful about that. But here's the thing. That's not the only thing that's kind of broken about this. Because, if I were going to remind you, I'm the Livonian Order. I am not a monarchy. I'm a theocracy. The only rule here is that you cannot be a non-monarchy when you get the personal union. Which means, since it's through event, I'm able to get one and keep them. Because you only lose them if you flip out of monarchy into republic or theocracy, or if I then flip from theocracy to republic, or vice versa. So as long as I don't change my government type, I get to keep them as a personal union. Even if my ruler dies, I get to keep them just as long as I have positive opinion with them, just like as if I was a monarchy. It's the same thing. Which means, because it's by event, if you want to get them as a republic, such as Lübeck, go for it. You want to get them as the Ottomans or Ming? Go for it. Religion doesn't matter. You can do it as anybody. On top of that, let's say Gotland stops existing for whatever reason. So long as they still have a Swedish province with a core of theirs on it, you're able to release them. Meaning, even if Denmark conquers them early game, and just declares on them day one, or Sweden declares on them after they get independence, you're able to come and get Gotland later in the game. And even if Sweden conquers all of Denmark after that, so long as they haven't completed their first mission of War for the Crown, they still get cores on all the Danish territory. Meaning, even if Denmark no longer exists to make this worth it, you can still use them to reconquer all of the Danish territory. Meaning it is still absolutely worth it to release them so long as they were a monarchy government type. And you can absolutely abuse this to all the extent that you can imagine. Because yes, it works. For whatever reason, this works this way. Once you are done with either getting the personal union over Denmark or feeding Gotland the starting Danish provinces, since they'll be cores, you can integrate Gotland because they will probably be just a normal vassal. But here's the thing, you're not done with Gotland the province, because it's Swedish culture with a Swedish core. Meaning, if you're in a situation like this where Muscovy has conquered all of Sweden, you can then use it to release Sweden and reconquer all of Sweden that way. Meaning, for whatever reason, Paradox decided Gotland is the key to all of Scandinavia for you, regardless of who you are. So absolutely look at the beginning of your game to see if they went monarchy, because if they did, congratulations, you have a very, very, very easy time on getting Scandinavia. And if they do have Eric die and then flip out of monarchy, you can Alt F4 until he doesn't. And that's pretty much the entire strategy. I was simply playing as a Livonian Order with Gotland as a vassal. I had already conquered all of Sweden, and Norway had been integrated by Denmark, and I was dropping claims on Denmark and went to declare, only to realize, oh look, Gotland has just a bunch of cores all over Denmark for whatever reason. So I declared for that, and I was handing all the forts over to Gotland because I didn't want to pay for the maintenance on them. And all of a sudden, I got pieced out with a personal union over Denmark, which caused about a half hour of sheer confusion before I realized what had happened. And once I realized how this works, I just had to share, because this is just way too broken to not share. So if you guys see that Gotland stayed as a monarchy, absolutely exploit this, because yeah, having all of Scandinavia right at your fingertips is really, really powerful. With all that being said, if you found this video helpful or you're going to use this in the game, please leave a like, because it'll definitely be appreciated as it will help my channel out. If, however, you want to see nation guides, especially for countries that all the larger channels just ignore, go ahead and subscribe, because I cover them all the time, because I'll pretty much do what you guys ask me to do. But with that being said, I hope y'all have a wonderful day.